Hello and welcome back to Marine for TCG. My name is Joe. Drink of the day is a cold can of Red Bull, and today I've been playing with the Don, the man himself, Mr. Don Krieg, or as the sim calls him, just Krieg. And befitting of the Don himself, this deck is all around messing around with your opponent's Don to get interesting effects. None less than this activate main once per turn. You can rest one of your opponent's characters with 2 or more given Don cards. This lets you play into board pretty nicely if you just need to take out your opponent's board. You can give them some Dom with some effects we'll talk about later, rest it and take it out. When you're going for lethal, you're able to give a bunch of Don, rest their blocker, and then their blocker doesn't do anything. It's pretty cool. And this also works with some stun effects that the deck has as well. But the bigger effect on this leader is Don X1, opponent's turn. If you have only East Blue type characters, give all of your opponent's guys minus 2,000 power. That's insane. Shanks Upscale. Shanks gave one thing minus 1,000 power once. This guy, for just 1 Don, gives everything minus 2. It's insane. He's basically a 7,000 power leader. You can sort of look at it like that. Except against your opponent's leader, because your leader can always swing for 5. This makes Don Krieg incredibly effective into go wide strategies, and somewhat less effective into go tall strategies, because reducing, for example, a 9,000 power character to 7, it's not as impactful as reducing like 3 5Ks all to 3K, because that's brutal. If you've been hit with 7 cost Shanks in the Mihawk deck, and then they play a second one, you know how brutal that is. So Don Krieg, very good ability. However, the downside of being locked to East Blue means that you have to play a very sort of curated package. So with this deck, I do currently prefer second by quite a large margin. And our 4-6-8 curve is very, very clean, right? On 4 Dom, we can play this Arlong. His on-KO is incredibly frustrating for your opponent. If they KO it, you can freeze their leader, you can freeze their Don, deny them upcoming plays. It's really annoying for your opponent to take this out. So a lot of the time, this guy just gets to stick there because he's too annoying to kill. And then his activate main is the same as the Alvida and the Morgan. You can give one of your opponent's rested Don to one of their dudes, and then you get to give 1 Don card to someone's thing, right? Either you can give your own Don cards to one of your guys, or their Don cards to one of their guys. This flexibility is nice for putting a Don in your leader on 4. It's nice for putting a second Don on their guy if you need to be able to rest it immediately. It's just a cool card. Now, the difference between this Arlong and the Alvida, because they all have the same translation, and I believe this is mistranslated in English, the way I understand that it should be ruled is that Arlong and Kuro can attach active Don with the second effect of Arlong, the give up to 1 Don card. I believe this and this can hit active Don, and these two cannot. That is not how they're working on the sim. Please don't tell me in the comments that you can attach active Don on the sim. I know. However, I think that is a mistranslation. If you do speak Japanese and I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments, because I want to be right on this. I've seen a lot of conflicting information, but the way I've been playing these cards is that I've not been attaching active Don with them, because I don't believe they can do that. The Alvida and the Morgan, that is. And speaking of Alvida and Morgan, on our 6 Don turn, you want to play this Gin, it plays a 5, just gives you an extra guy. And then Morgan and Alvida are R5s. Morgan is a blocker and then has that effect like the Arlong that we talked about. And then Alvida has, if this character be KO'd, you can trash 1 6,000 power character from your hand instead. It's fine. It stops like removal effects on this exactly. Only KO removal. But this also works in battle. And if people don't know how to read, which is more common than you think, and they slam like an 8 into this, you can just go, okay, I'll use the effect and trash 1 card. And the vast majority of our characters do fit this restriction. We do have one other 4-drop that I forgot to mention, is Pearl. It's basically Lucky Roo. It's a 4-6 blocker on defense. It's a 4-4 in your turn. When it goes down, you can pop one of your opponent's guys. Pretty reasonable. Lucky Roo was incredible in Shanks, and I'm pleased to have him back, even if he is much uglier. The reason why I prefer Morgan, by the way, is just the fact that he is a blocker, buys you a card. If your opponent swings a 5 after you play your Gin Morgan, that's 1 card that you didn't have to give. If you play Gin Alvida and they swing a 5, then yeah, you got to counter that. But with Morgan, you get a free block. And I like the effects in this deck that buy me cards. because you have no draw. There is no draw. You can be the samurai. That's the only draw this deck has access to, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. Now, in terms of boss monsters, we have 2. The namesake, Krieg, 8/9. On play, give 3 rested Don to one of your opponent's guys. Then he gains Rush. Don't know why he doesn't have Rush. Into Blackbeard, you just get ratioed, I guess. But well, then on activate main, if this character is played this turn, you can give all of your opponent's characters minus 1k for each Don that is on them. So the 3 Don that you put on one of your opponent's guys, you can then rest it with the leader, and then give it minus 3,000 power with this effect. And of course, if you have more Don giving effects, or if they just have Don on their guy, this does even more. Really, really good card. One of the only bricks in the deck as well, which is relevant because you don't have any card economy. Right? So every brick matters. And this brick is worth playing. This can either be used to aggressively try and take out your opponent's board, or just as a big rush body when you're going for game. It's got nice versatility, and it synergizes quite nicely with our other boss monster, which is much more defensive, and that's this Kuro. 7/7 blocker. On play, you give 2 of your opponent's Don, and this, I believe, can hit active to one of your opponent's guys. Then at the end of the turn, you get to freeze one of your opponent's rested guys with 3 or more Don. So you do need another Don giver, like Morgan Alvida or Arlong, to combo with this Kuro to get the freeze effect. But the fact that this can freeze anything, regardless of cost, is really nice into the big stuff decks, right? Playing this against an Enel. You rest their Enel and then freeze it. Seems pretty good to me. And then he's just a really nice statted blocker. 7/7. Normally, I'd kind of scoff at that stat line as a blocker. But when you're giving your opponent -2 on everything, that 7/7 is suddenly really big. That's kind of like a 7/9. If you're blocking characters swing anyway. So that's kind of the deck. In terms of the supporting cast, we have 2 searchers. The first one's Django, who's a top 3 searcher. He can get himself, which is nice, but the fact that this is top 3 is pretty bad. It further locks us into only playing East Blue cards, so you really can't get too experimental. However, on activate main, you can trash him to give a rested Don to one of your opponent's guys. Doesn't come up too much, but it's nice that that effect is there to help you out in emergency to either combo with your Krieg, or maybe combo with something if you just need to rest one of your opponent's guys, and go for a dodgy lethal. Our other searcher is a top 5 event, can't grab itself, trigger only draws a card. It kind of sucks it doesn't activate the main, but it is what it is. We need consistency with this deck because our curve is so strict, so we're playing max counts of the searchers. In terms of 2Ks, I have 4 of the Mihawk. It can rest something in a pinch, and it's also just a decently statted body, 4/5, not the worst. 4 of the Higma, it can attach a Don in a pinch and give it a power down. And then 3 of the Kobe for anti-removal. These are the other East Blue 2Ks, and like I guess you could play a different 2K, but there's not that many that are that relevant, because as soon as you have them on the board, you have to go for lethal immediately. And like Izo's rotating, so I think the one you would consider most outside of East Blue is, I guess, like Lime Juice to deny some blockers. But again, the fact that our Django is only a top 3, I don't know, I want to max out my East Blue counts, but if you did want to cut one of these, I'd probably cut either the Higma or the Mihawk. I like having a few Kobe's for the removal matchups, even though his effect is, like, really bad. And then the events is where you can get a bit more experimental. I'm going to talk about a few others at the end, but the ones that I've included in this list are It's in Order Do Not Fire Me, you can freeze something in a pinch, or just big 4K. These big events are nice because if your opponent wants to swing 7 to get multiple cards, as we don't have many resources, having these events to deny that is really good. I'm trying out the Conqueror's Haki to sort of gain me cards in the other way. If your opponent decides, okay, I'm going to go 5/5, 5/5, 5, and you go Conqueror's Haki, they're like, 4/4, 4/4, 4 is a lot worse than 5/5, as it turns out. So in my head, this buys me cards. It's just something I'm trying out. Not sure either way just yet. And 2 of the I Know You're Strong. 3K is kind of superfluous. But freezing 2 7s, again, just buys you cards because it gets you out of aggression. This deck feels like it has some pretty strong matchups into anything that wants to go wide. I've tried into Boa Hancock. That matchup from the few games I've played felt pretty good. Yellow Luffy feels quite winnable. But into the going tall stuff, it feels a little bit more difficult. You're quite reliant on seeing your Kuros. And Enel in particular, because they don't have Don in their cost area, it's really annoying playing into Enel because you just can't do your stuff. So you lose value on these Don guys because you can't give yourself the Don. Sometimes it's hard to rest whatever you need to rest if there's just no Don in their Don area. So I think Enel is the matchup I've found the most difficult of the ones I've tested so far. But I could also see this guy having a tough time into hard removal. If you were to play like a Sakazuki or something, I think that matchup would be pretty ass. Because Kobe just reducing your leader's power, it's not ideal. And other than your Alvida's minor protection, nothing else has protection. So I could see removal being pretty tricky. Either way, I think Don Krieg is a lot of fun. Definitely recommend giving him a go. And here's some games. Going into Luffy, I'm going to take second. We've got a Searcher, we've got an Arlong. Triple 2Ks is not ideal. Seeing the Arlong is really good. I think I'll keep. I think it's a little greedy to look for more. Maybe? I don't know. You be the judge. He doesn't play anything that I'm that scared of early. Heso. This is cool. This is cool. I like this. Let's search. Gin's good. Gin's good. We need to draw a target for him. That's a lot of bad targets in the trash. So I think this is good enough. And we can emergency Mihawk, right? So let's take the Gin. Push the Krieg to the top. We're never cycling this deck. It doesn't really matter. I'll put a Don here, but it doesn't matter. We are the Don. Why is he just called Krieg? Why is he not called Don Krieg? Missed opportunity there, Bandai. Big L. Heso is an interesting one. I want to try this card in the deck. Because it should make the deck more consistent. And the trigger's cool, right? Draw 2 is a really good trigger. But, yeah, I don't know how good the effect actually is. It's sure. But if this is just one card, I'll absolutely counter. If I can get out of a swing for one card as Krieg, I'm always happy to do that. Because next turn, he might swing for more than 6. We don't know. And I've got about 1 million 2Ks in my hand anyway. Okay, he Hesos again. I don't think we need this Higuma. Higuma balls. Kill me. Here's Arshlong. Put one here. One here. Swing for 6. I imagine he might just take the first life. He does. No trigger. Cool. Arlong gets to live another day. I guess if he has Gadatsu, that kind of bones me. Is he playing? Would he play Gadatsu? I don't think he'd play Gadatsu. Anyway, for 5 Don, he's Gadatsu. Maybe that's a reason to just take the first swing, huh? Maybe we should just take the first swing. Get more cards in hand as well. Yeah, I guess if I get Gadatsu, I guess I should play around Gadatsu, right? Yeah, we should at least play around it. But it's not Gadatsu, it's just Zoro. That's fine. I think I will take this 6 now. Calgara. Because we're looking for a target for our Gin anyway. I don't really want to play Mihawk. That works. It's not Morgan, but it's close. Close enough. Very ugly Alvida. We get another Higma balls. We got 5 too. I only play 11. And 5 of them are in my hand. What a time to be alive. So we'll play Gin. Play Alvida. Alvida effect. Give 1 rested Don here. Attach arrested. Can this go on characters? This can go on Arlong. We can swing 6/6 here. Can this go on characters? Yeah, so we can swing 6/6. I prefer 6/6 to 5/7, right? Because he's going to take one of them. Attach a rested. Can rest this. Then we'll swing 6/6. I guess this means if he gets a trigger that kills exactly Arlong, then we could have frozen his leader and his Zoro by resting this. Sure, we get a... I don't think this one's very good, to be honest. I don't think this card's very good. There's a lot of really good 2Ks that you can play in this deck. I just don't feel like this card's one of them. Getting the Gin on curve is lovely, though. Our hand is kind of shit, not gonna lie. This hand is kind of unplayable, but here's what it is. Who's coming out? Wiper. Okay, so if he wants to take out our Arlong, it's gone. It is what it is. He's swing 4-3. Would I defend that for 1 card? I kind of want to take a life, because I don't have anything to do, man. This kind of sucks. Does he even want to take it out? He does. Well, do you know what? I'll give you a 2k. And then if you take it out with your leader, I get to stun your leader and your Zoro. Yeah, that's fine. And stun the leader and the Zoro. Seems reasonable. We're kind of living by the top deck. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Whiffing a play at all. Just too many 2Ks, man. It's in what, 6 so far? 6 out of 11 is pretty bad RNG, I think. So I think our job here is to hit him really hard. I could do... If we do Higma Balls, we could rest the Robin. It's so expensive to stun that though, right? It's so expensive. I just don't think it's worth it. So we're going to do 7, 7, 7, go 9. That swings are kind of enormous. Because we have nothing to do with the Don. Let's go 7. Aha, you fell for my trap. I don't have shit all to do, buddy. It'll swing 9 or 10. Let's just go 9. I have nothing to do. We get 3 cards and 2 lives. It could be worse. It's a bad turn, but it could be worse. That's a lot of fucking armies. Holy shit. And his leader's frozen, which is nice. These are pretty small. We've got a lot of counter. We'll see who plays for 9. Presumably, maybe a heal, maybe a Borsalino. I don't know. And we can stun this Zoro again and the Robin maybe next turn. It's something we can look to do. Alvida, super savable. Gin, pretty large. He's going to do the Robin. Very nice. Who's coming out of Robin? Maybe, I mean, another one of these wipers would be pretty good. Because then he could maybe try and take out the Gin. 5 cost Nami, I guess? It's another wiper, sure. Shows us Satori. I don't care about Satori. This is at 5. Yeah, we've got to save this. See, the good news is he can't swing that big. Is he swinging here? This is 5 to 4. And then we've got, what, 6 to... I mean, this doesn't work because we can trash one character with 6,000 power. But I'm not going to tell him that. So I'm just going to counter with a... Probably don't need 2 Mihawk. Maybe I could have just played a Mihawk last turn just to have a body. That might have been better, actually. Just developing a Mihawk might have been better. We could have still swung 7-7. 7-8, in fact. Yeah, I think I should have played the Mihawk last turn. I was thinking too much about the effect and not thinking enough about the fact that he's just a 4-5. Either way, let's trash Kobe. I don't think the removal's coming up. And we'll see if this Robin goes into Alvida or Gin. Either way, it's just 1 card. Oh, he can put 1 Don. Of course he can. Oh, he got... Of course, he's got hundreds of wipers. So this swings, what, 7? Ooh, 7. I'm going to counter a 7. Might have to, though. You're leaving 1 Don for an event. Makes sense. That's a mistake. So we resolve and then use the effect. You should have swung into Gin there. I don't think you realised. We'll give up the Mihawk. Yeah, he didn't read the card. We would have like 1 2k less in hand. But I think I should have played the Mihawk last turn. I think I should have played the Mihawk. You can stun the 2 Robins. That's pretty reasonable. I'd quite like a blocker. You can take a Gin. Sorry, a Krieg. Now, I think the sim will let me attach active Dons with this, but I don't believe this is allowed to attach active Dons. I think this is only supposed to hit rested. This also only hits rested, so I don't think we can interact with this Don here. This plus this lets us rest this. Let's take the Krieg for next turn, I think. This is another option we could have taken. No, we can't take that. It's not East Blue. Ignore me. So I think I'll just take the Krieg for next turn. And then we'll make somewhat of a somewhat threatening push at his life. Can go 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8, 9 lots. Yeah, I don't think this is allowed to attach active dons. If it could, I would get rid of that every day, but I simply don't think it is allowed to. So I'm going to throw out an 8, because this plays around Rayquaza. It obviously plays into the Bell event. But it's kind of 6 of 1, right? So he takes the 8. No trigger on Satori. Now I'm going to go 9. Okay, we get the Bell event and we get a 1k. Strange that he didn't just use the Bell event on the 8. If he had it. Because then he did, because we know the life is Satori. So right, we don't go for the kill. We use Django to put Arrested Don here. Then we're going to do 3 for I Know You're Strong. I'm going to keep 1 Don open just in case there's an event in our life, and he does go for a dodgy lethal. So we're going to rest this, and then we're going to swing for 7 lead. He can obviously 2k, 1k, or he can take down to 0. Choice is his. And then we're going to freeze these Robins. Okay, gives us 2k, 1k. Gives us a Borsalino, though. That's interesting. Then we're going to do this. Freeze the Robins, because they are the biggest units. And then we pass. Who needs other characters? Gin and Alvida, they're all I need. But yeah, definitely should have played this Mihawk. That was a mistake. He'd have 1 more card in hand, but we'd have 1 more guy on board, and we could have threatened a lethal that turn, I think. It might have been possible. 5 Don Borsalino. 5 Don Borsalino. Heals back to 2. Does he have another heal? If he can heal to 3, that's a problem. I'd also really like to take a life. I'd really like to take a life here. 4 Don Zoro. Okay, so he can heal back to 3, but he has 0 cards in hand. It's pretty relevant. If we can defend our whole board, there is a shot at lethal. There is. It's not an amazing one. It's what, 5, 7, 8, 9. That's not the worst. So we can rest the Borsalino as well with the Krieg effect. He's got 1 wiper left. No, he's got no wipers left. This probably stays up. So he swings max 6 into one of these. Do I want to counter and potentially give myself another turn? I don't think he swings 7 anyway. So I'm going to take this one and then counter the next one. Because now we do have the option of a blocker. No. That's just incorrect. That's incorrect. We always defend this. What am I trashing? It's just the... Yeah, it's the blocker, though. Is it the blocker, though? Are we just dead if we don't win? We actually might just be dead if we don't win. If we can block one, we can take out Borsalino. I think we are dead if we don't win. There's no way this wiper swings. That's it. That's its turn. Indeed. So I think now we go for lethal. We need every hit to go through. We need there to be no blockers. It's a bit dodgy. But without any way to stun, I don't think there was another option. So we've got to go with this first. We've got to put our eggs in the basket. Because we need to rest it. Five. No trigger. At 7 with Alvida, because this is vulnerable. This isn't actually vulnerable to KO. Because of her effect. But regardless, it's 7... 799. 7... Yeah, 799. I mean, we're just kind of gambling on triggers and events, right? I think 7 is always worth. If he got an event for... No, he got an event first life. Okay, we lose. Sure. I mean, I can take up Borsalino. That's pretty debilitating. That's pretty unfortunate. Maybe we can win. I don't know. I need a Don mode leader. Let's do that. Put arrested Don on. It doesn't matter. And then arrested Don on our leader. And then I guess we swing here. He just takes the life, but at least he doesn't get a trigger off of it. That's really unlucky. First life was the event. Well, we got 5k in hand. Maybe we can still win. He's 3 swings to go through. They are all small. They're all 4ks. There's a chance. Let's see if we can get this. Okay, plays Luffy. He does get 2 of those Dons back, though. No, he's just a 5k swinger. We can't block, obviously, but if we use an event, that becomes a little bit of a problem. Use 1 wiper. It's got 1 wiper left. Does he just start with all 5s? That's all the wipers gone. Okay. He's put a bunch of Dons on. So his... If one goes here... We have to counter this one. One goes here. This is at 5. He can do what? He swings with everything. He has 5, 6, 7 as his last swings. If I take this, can he do a better split? With the fact that he's given these 2 Dons here, which is a mistake. Does he have a better split? He has 7. No, it's 5, 5, 6, 7 regardless. The only way it changes is if we play an event and then this gets bigger. And this can swing for 8. We need to defend everything except this swing. So let's just take. Yes, use the trigger. Give me something good. That's a 1k. That should be enough. That should be enough. So you can do 5, 6, 6, 6, but that's good enough. We've got just enough counter there. 1k. It's going to do what? Yeah, 6, 6, 6 or... 2k. We just got there. I mean, you just threw. Right? You literally just threw. It wouldn't have mattered. That was a really bizarre final swing. It didn't matter because we had the 1k. Well, sorry, the 2k. So if he went 6-6 split, fine. He goes 5-7, counts the 5. He can take out the Gin, but we just kill him. We kill him every single time next turn. Wow. I do think this matchup is good because they like to go wide. He had a very good set of draws as well. We drew well. The I Know You're Strong definitely came up. That was a nice play. I threw on that one turn where I didn't play the Mihawk. Although we used every bit of counter, so... I don't know. We could have maybe got lethal a turn earlier. But that Mihawk is hard to protect. Because the Alvida's got the effect. The Gin's big. And he did make a mistake, actually, earlier on, right? He'd had 1 card more out of us if he swung into the Gin. Which would have been the difference maker. So yeah, opponent definitely could have won that. That was a close game. A couple of mistakes from either side. Fun one, though. Got to go into Enel. He's taken first. This is not the searcher, right? No. No, that hand's not good enough. If we're going to beat Enel, we're going to need a really good hand. I'm not going to lie. It's going to have to be a banger. Let's go with the searcher event. That's a good one to get. Well, that's a lot of Alvidas. I do like the Kuro in this matchup. But we need to see Gin. Otherwise, we're just not going to have enough aggression. So I'm going to take the Gin. I mean, I guess I'll put the Kuro to the top. Unfortunately, we don't have any East Blue characters, so we're going to take a bit of damage here, which is not great. If these are, like, I can play one of these 1-drops, right? But then I don't have the Don on the leader anyway, so it's kind of neither here nor there. We'll put this here. Maybe he'll think that the effect is live. That's all I've got. That's all I've got. But yeah, this is a weird situation where because we don't have any characters, the effect just isn't live yet. So seeing the Django early is really nice. I've been considering adding a couple copies of Nezumi, but it's so easy to remove for a lot of decks. Let's get the Lightning Dragon. That's a good card. That's a very good card. Charlotte Pudding, sure. At least we're going to have our effect from next turn. We're going to get this Arlong down. Grabs the Lightning Beast Chitin. So he's going to be able to swing for, what, 6-6? Or 5-7? We'll have to counter one of these. We'll see what his swings are. Does he want to do 5-7 or 6-6? 6-6. Sure. Well, we may as well take the first one, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. No trigger. Morgan's really good target for Gin, and I am going to take out this Ohm because of the power down. The power down really fucks with the Morgan's value. So we will be taking out the Ohm. As much as I don't really want to attack this. In terms of what we're getting rid of, I think it's the Kobe. I don't think we need him. Enel plays a little bit of removal, but not that much. This will be good later, though. That will be very good. So we're going to go with our Arlong. Use the Arlong's effect. Arrested Don on the Pudding. Attach Arrested Don to me. And then we will swing into the Ohm and just clear it. Because as much as I do obviously want to get cards out of him as quickly as possible, the power down is really good. The power down is really good. Does have the secret now. Best first one for sure. Grabs a card in hand, see what he trashes. We know he has the Lightning Beast and also the Freeze one. What's the Lightning Beast one? That's the power down. Yeah, he's got the power down, he's got the freeze. The fact that they just get to drop their Enel before we get to do Gin is really nice for his pressure. Trashes Divine Departure. Sure, so he can swing 5-5 here. I think we really ought to counter both. Which is awkward. I don't really want to. I'm hoping he'll prioritize like playing a 1-drop and just swing once with leader. But it doesn't look like he's going to do that. It looks like we're going 5-5. Unless he just put in... Yeah, we're going 5-5. Do I want to counter both? We need this Morgan. So that we can play him off the Gin. So we'll be giving up Higama and Mihawk. The problem is that this just swings for 10 next turn, right? That's the problem I'm facing. We do get out of probably... Oh man, it's awkward. It's awkward. I don't really want to give up my only 2Ks. Especially as we're still not going to have a Don for this. I'll take one. This might be a mistake, though. I'll give up this Pearl. I don't think this is... the blocker could be useful, actually. Let's give up Higama. I think the blocker could be useful on the turn after Gin if we don't find anything better. And it currently looks like we're not finding anything better. Let's go with this. Yeah, play out the Morgan. And we'll go give one Rested Don here, I guess. Put a Rested on my leader. I can't put the another Don on my leader, right? Unless I take out the Pudding, which I don't really want to. We'll go 5-6. Yeah, can only use one of these. He doesn't have enough Don. I wonder if that's a thing. I'm guessing that is a thing that's going to make this matchup pretty difficult because they just don't have Don in their cost area. But we'll see. We do have a blocker now. If he wants to take out this Arlong, that's going to be pretty bad for him. Here's Enel. Very nice. Getting the Django might honestly be a difference maker in this matchup because it can take out the weenies pretty consistently, right? Which is nice. So now he's forced to just swing, what, 6-10. If we'll block... I mean, there's no point blocking with the Morgan, right? Because we do have 01k, but I don't have anything else. Trash is a holy, sure. So I think we're just giving a 2k. And then... Okay, we're definitely not blocking with Morgan anymore. MrMaCHONaCHOMan, okay, he's gonna try and aggressively take out our Morgan. Fair enough. Fair enough. 8 to 5. Why is this? Oh, reduction. It's not 10, it's 8. Well, I mean, we can save this for Color of the Supreme King Hockey and a Mihawk. Is it worth it? He's still got his leader effect to do, so he can still swing 5-5 into this. So he'll get it if he wants it. So I think we just let it go. Ah, this is... She's not looking great already. But we'll see what we can do. Lightning Dragon. Yes. This is looking really bad. This is looking really bad. I kind of have to counter these, right? What can we do? We don't even have... We can put one Rested Don here. We have to take out this pudding to get enough Rested Don to... We don't have anything that gives Rested anymore because he took out the Morgan aggressively. Oh man, this sucks. This really sucks. These are so big. Can we draw like a Kuro off the top maybe? I mean, there's a Kuro, so we can freeze one of his things. We can leave one Don up for Color of the Supreme King Hockey, which is pretty cool. That actually might work out quite nicely. We're going to have to take out this shitty pudding, though. Which sucks. Just to have enough Rested Don, right? Attach Rested Don. It doesn't really matter which one we put them on. Attach Rested Don here. Here. Attach Rested Don here. We kind of need to leave one Don open. So we'll swing 7 lead. And then pass and freeze this. But I don't know. The Kuro top deck was good. Kuro top deck was definitely good. Because it just keeps this stunned. Maybe we can go with I Know You're Strong next turn and freeze 2 of his guys. I'm really hoping the Kuro Supreme King Haki gets some value. Because what I'm envisioning is if he attacks with this... Okay, Blocker Enel's cool. But if he attacks with this into our leader, we can block with Kuro, use the Supreme King Haki, save the Kuro, and then give -1 everywhere. That's what I'm thinking. He trashed... No, he used Lightning Beast Kitten to debuff Gin. He's frozen it with Lightning Dragon. This card's crazy, by the way. This is so overtuned. In my opinion, this is the one card in the deck that feels the most strong to me at the minute. At least. So, that's really awkward because we don't get the... Yeah, we don't get the... I was hoping you'd swing with this first. It doesn't work how I wanted it to. This is just 7. Yeah, it doesn't work. I guess we could just free block this one. And if he swings 8 into 6, that still works for me. I'm hoping he'll swing 8 into... I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong on this. He's not going to swing into a character, is he? If I... Maybe should have just ripped the Color of the Supreme King Haki off the rip. Would have got out of these two. This would have been a 7. He's not going to take out the Arlong because it's suicide. Because I can freeze 2 of his dudes for free. We have to counter this one. But then this swings into Kuro. Yeah, I shouldn't have blocked. This is a mistake. This is a mistake. Got to give the 1k, because then I can save the Kuro with the Color of the Supreme King Haki. If he swings leader, we take, obviously. If he swings Arlong, that's amazing for me, because we can freeze 2 guys. L4 buffs are now 9 to 7. That works out actually perfectly. Buff this. Rest this. Resolve. That came in clutch. What else he got? Oh, this is an L gaining blocker, sure. Didn't this already gain blocker? I thought this already gained blocker. Maybe I'm tripping. Let's burn the searcher event. Now we can Krieg. We've got to take out the pudding so that we've got enough dons to give a round. Do we? Yeah, we want to rest this Enel, right? If I Krieg, then I can't freeze, right? We can never go for lethal this turn. I fucked up last turn. We should have Conqueror's Harkied, and then I could have just took the Enel swing and been at 1 here. If we were at 1 here, it's so much better. But I couldn't take that 5, because if I take the 5, then I get fucked by the Enel. But I get put to 0, which is too low. I think I needed a blocker here. Maybe we take Django and just dig for a blocker. But if he has MrMaCHONaCHOMan, he can rest it anyway. We can go for this. Take out the pudding, play the Krieg, try and remove one of his guys. But it's the fact that the other two still exist is just too big. Can't give enough Don to get this to work. And our Gin is frozen as well. It's just so bad in general. It's really not good. Maybe we just have to take this and try and force aggro. Freeze this turn. Take out the pudding. It'd be hard for him to kill us. It's possible, though. If he knows all we have in hand is a brick. Just hope he has no rush guy. Or we can leave Kuro active so that he can't kill us easily. But we can't play this. Five. So we need 3 for that. Okay, he gives us a Divine Departure. It's at least 2 cards out of his hand. So we need 3 for this. There's no point putting... I mean, we could swing like 7 and threaten a swing of 9 with the Kuro. Maybe we put 1 here. Swing 6, because he's somewhat likely to counter that. I don't think he would block this one. Yeah, so we get a card out of him there where we had kind of no business getting one. Have to leave this active, otherwise he has guaranteed... yeah, with 3 guys, he has guaranteed lethal if we don't leave this active. Because he knows we have the Krieg in hand. We just freeze these and pass. He has all the answers. So he can kill the Gin very easily. If he doesn't have another blocker, we have an okay shot at lethal next turn anyway. It's just going to depend what's in his hand. It's not a great lethal, but it's a lethal, right? It's a lethal. Rosie and Law, that is another blocker. Is he just going to leave 2 blockers up? That would be pretty smart if he does. Maybe he should have just not attacked with the Arlong at all. He'd have 1 more 2k. But if he takes out the Arlong, though, it's weird, right? If he takes out the Arlong, it is still weird. Okay, it's a 1k at least. He doesn't have an active Don, though, so this can't swing. This swings. Just swing into Arlong, right? No, swings lead. Well, we have to go for it this turn, so let's just take... Well, there was a Krieg there anyway, so I regret taking this one, but we weren't to know, right? We'll go deploy. He does thankfully have 2 in his rest area. If he had any events that could have -1, that could have been diabolically bad for us. But we have this. Put 1, 2. Choose 0. Then we can rest this. I can't actually use the Arlong effects. Oh, I was supposed to give 1. We'd have 1k more power. We would have 1k more power. I was not supposed to use that. I was supposed to only use 1 from the Krieg. Because then we can give 1k more. We can give 1 rested Dom with the Arlong. So if we lose by 1k, it's my fault. That's actually quite interesting. How many events has he given us? He's only given us like 1 MrMaCHONaCHOMan, right? Yeah, 1 MrMaCHONaCHOMan. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be honest, I have no idea how many. I haven't been keeping track of his shit. It's given us 2 DDs, so I don't think there's many DDs left. Is it 5, 7, 7, 7, 9? Or 6, 6, 7, 7, 9? I don't think it matters. Let's go 5. There's a freebie. 6, 7, 8, 9 maybe? I kind of like the staircase. I mean, that's somewhat positive. There's no way, right? There's just no way. There's no way he can't counter a 7 and 8 with this hand. It's 4 cards. Yeah, and another MrMaCHONaCHOMan. No 2Ks? I mean, it's possible. Nah, he's thinking about it. We've lost. Oh, we lost by 1K! Wow. My misplay there was the difference maker. Huh. Yeah, wow. What was this? It was a 1... Oh, it was a 1K that drew him a 1K. So it wouldn't have mattered. If that had gone through... Yeah, he had, what, 4 1Ks was that? 1, 2, 3... Yeah, 4 1Ks. He has 5 1Ks, goes to 10. Yeah, this because this is a 1K anyway, it doesn't matter. No, so my misplay didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, this would have drawn another one anyway. So this is effectively a 2K. I was remarkably close. I think he made a mistake by attacking with this, or attacking with this Enel. I think there's just no need. You kill me next turn almost certainly anyway. So I think personally attacking with this and not making it a blocker was just a mistake. Maybe he was fearful of Roger. Maybe he was playing around Roger. I don't know. I don't know if his deck would ever play Roger, because obviously he's not East Blue. But that was actually remarkably close. I think our opponent made it closer than it needed to be. Like I say, with that play at the end. But the Kuro top deck was insane. The I Know You're Strong was... We definitely showed the power of that. I made a misplay as well around the Conqueror's Haki. I definitely made a mistake on that turn. That was a bit of a grief. But an interesting game nonetheless. I think you can beat Enel. It's just pretty difficult. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed those games. And as promised, here's sort of a little discussion about some other cards that I think you could try in this deck. The 7-cost Shanks combos really well. But the problem is that you can't rest this guy on curve. And playing a 7-9 vanilla, it's just kind of slow. Not going to lie, it's kind of slow. You're going to end up taking quite a lot of hits because your opponent's going to realise, okay, this Shanks is coming down. I need to apply as much pressure before this Shanks, his effect is online. So if I was playing Shanks, I think I'd also be wanting to play You Can Be the Samurai. So you can aggressively rest it on 8. And that does get you draw as well, which is something that this deck struggles with. I just don't know if this is too much of a combo. I think the card I would be more likely to want to play is the Zeph. Because it just increases your leader's base power to 7,000. Gives you more aggression. And effectively is 2 Shanks in a trench coat. Kind of. Of course, they can attack your characters. But all our characters are kind of annoying to attack, right? The Alvida's very easy to defend for 1 card. And the Arlong, they don't want to attack it. And even clearing those doesn't really solve the problem in that we are a 7k that then reduces their board by 2k. Which is really, really strong. The problem with this card is, again, it's really slow. Playing this on 7, you're not doing anything. So again, you're going to have the same issue as the Shanks, in that this is slow, and they're also bricks. And one thing I actually really like about this deck is there are, like, no bricks. You've got 4 events, and your 4 Kriegs. Everything else is either a counter event, or at least a 1k. And those 1ks matter, because of your leader effect reducing their power. They need more... Their swings are on average smaller, so just being a 1k is really relevant, and then when you're taking your life gambling on seeing 1ks, the odds of you seeing them are just very high. So adding more bricks like Zeph, You Can Be the Samurai, and Shanks does scare me a little bit. So there's all of the main inclusions that I think would be pretty interesting. In terms of other characters I've seen people play, I've seen this Tashigi, like, it can rest a 6, it's a vanilla stat line, but you don't get the Rested Don, so I don't really know why I've seen this in a couple of Japanese lists. Like, it's East Blue, but this doesn't feel good enough to play. I'd certainly max out Alvida and Morgan before playing this. Lord of the Coast is interesting for some frees, but I feel like I'd rather just play, like, the Kuro obviously does this effectively. I know your strong hits most things that are going to be relevant. And the counter event as well for 1 Don can free something. So I don't know if this is worth it, but this could be something to try. A couple copies. This Arlong feels kind of bad. I'm not going to lie. It's not felt great. It's okay on exactly 3. Because it establishes a body and then gives you a Don, so you get your leader effect online already. But, I don't know. 4K is really bad. 4K kind of sucks. And if you draw this late game, it's turbo dead. So, I'm not sold on this Arlong. I guess it can be nice for denying a blocker. We have so many ways to get around blockers anyway. Another card I think could be interesting, especially if there's lots of when attacking leaders, is this Arlong. Trashing a card to deny one of their swings is effectively you give 1 card to get out of 1 swing. So that seems pretty decent. And their leader not being affected by our leader effect means if they want to put Dons on something, their leader is somewhat of an actual target. This Arlong could be interesting. Haven't had time to test him yet. Now, Nezumi is cool. Giving Arrested Don a return to you just generates value. But the fact that this is a -1, and it's so easy to deal with. Like, Enel can just pop this or rest it very, very easily. Lucy can Fire Fist this. All sorts of decks can just get rid of this too easily. And I don't think it's worth it for that reason. Also, if you draw this late, it's just dead in hand. Now, the rest of the cards I want to talk about are some more events. Distorted Future gives you a little bit more power down for some more board control. So if you do want to take this Krieg deck in a more board controlling direction, Distorted Future could be a cool option to take. Electrical Luna, I think, is just worse than I Know You're Strong. Because they're really small units, like any 5Ks, just don't matter because of our leader effect. So I'm not sure we need to stun the whole board. 2's usually good enough. And this is a brick, although the trigger is pretty good. DMG, you can always include DMG. It's always an option, right? You can never go wrong playing DMG. But I think we have, again, enough ways to interact with the opponent's blockers that you probably don't need DMG. However, again, a couple of copies, it could be quite nice. And finally, 10-layer Igloo is, again, another value generation card. You can counter out of a 7 and give something -2. Getting out of 2 swings for 1 card was always good in, like, Smoker. And buying cards in this deck feels great as well. Finally, the only non-East Blue characters I think that are worth playing, other than maybe Lime Juice, which I think I mentioned earlier, are Hody Jones. Again, it's like DMG. I don't know if I'd play this over DMG, because DMG's counter effect is good. But this is objectively better when you're going for lethal in this deck in particular. So maybe you could try Hody instead of a DMG. Not the worst at a couple of copies, but again, he's a brick. And the same with Roger. Neither of these cards are searchable. They're pretty nasty bricks to find, but they can steal you games. So it might be worth trying them at like a couple copies. Either way, that's it for today. That was my initial list of Krieg. Let me know, what do you think of the deck? What do you think of the list? The main sort of tech cards that I've gone for are the I Know You're Strong and the Conqueror's Haki. This from Kobe to Kuro is pretty bland. A lot of Krieg decks are going to look very similar because you're forced into this East Blue package, both by your leader and your Django just being a top 3. So you're going to see a lot of the same stuff in a lot of these Krieg videos. Where I think the difference is going to come in is in the events, and in if you play any tech characters like a Hody. Either way, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.